What's up? It's your boy, CP Killer, aka Young Tarantula, aka Silent Badeli, aka Professor Tux. And welcome back to my channel. Today, we're giving you a camera tutorial. And we're going to start small because over time I'll be giving you more camera tutorials and they're going to get more in depth, more intricate. We're going to get more examples. They're going to get more live. But I just wanted to start small today. Give you a bunch of information so that way you can digest it and then use it in furthering your camera adventures and your professional camera career. Today, we'll be discussing camera basics. Huzzah! Think of that as like the holy trinity because without this, like, camera gear will not exist. The holy trinity of the camera processing network, as you will, CPN. ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. So when you put them all together, you get a beautiful picture that is unmatched to those that are also taking pictures because it is your style. And once you learn these things, you will be able to find your own style and, you know, further your process. My rule for everything, and this is also a disclaimer, is when you learn the rules, you are able to break them. So why not just learn all the rules now so that way you can break them later? Let's jump right into it. To further explain all of this, I'm going to be using like an afternoon, evening, like park example because me and the homies went to the park that's not too far away from my house and we just decided to show y'all some things. ISO sensitivity for all of my textbook worms is pretty much the ability to capture light. It's pretty much like a sensitivity meter for your camera. So the lower the number is, the less light that you're bringing in. And working off our example, you would kind of want to keep that at the lowest ISO possible because you have so much natural light coming from the park and things of that nature that you wouldn't even need all that extra light for your camera to be sensitive to. However, if you're inside a house or you're in a museum or, you know what I'm saying, you're in like a low light area, don't be afraid to crank that bitch up all the way to like 1600 or like 800, depending on how far that your camera sensitivity or ISO sensitivity meters will let you. Although it's fine and dandy that your camera can go all the way up to 164,000, you don't want to have it all the way up at like 164,000. Like you kind of want to keep it at about like 1600 to decrease noise level. And what noise level is like that little grainy part in your footage that makes it look kind of like old or like overexposed. And that usually comes from ISO. It comes from like a number of things, but mostly it comes from ISO. So to deplete that, you kind of want to keep it at, like I said, 1600. Try not to verge over that because then you start to really see it. Also depends on the camera too. But the closer that you get to 100, the better off that you'll be. We're going to talk about aperture now. And aperture pretty much is like that opening to the James Bond movie, I think like Goldfinger or like 007, where like he's like walking by and then you see like that hole slightly get bigger and then he like stops and then he like shoots through it. Aperture just means like a hole which allows light through. So like the lower the number is, the wider that ring is. So though if you're in a park scene, let's go back to the park scene, in that case, like depends, honestly you can have it anywhere between like I would say like 4 and like 2.8. Now mind you, the scale goes from like 1 to I want to say like 32. So there's like a point system. So like you won't get 1, like just 1.0, but you will be able to get like 16 or 32 or wherever the highest aperture is. The higher that you take the aperture, the darker it'll actually get. So like the hole will start to close as you get higher. And the only reason you would want to do that is if you want to get more things in focus. Because the most ideal thing that you would want for your camera is to be able to go to like 1.8 or like 1.4. But a lot of lenses don't come like that, especially for if you just bought a camera and you don't really have money for a lens and it just came with like the standard lens and everything. That comes at a standard 3.5 aperture. So I wouldn't want to shoot that I wouldn't want to bring that out at night, especially if you're going to go shoot like neon signs in LA or like, you know, like a very ambient mood lit cafe or something like that. It's going to be really dark. So the only time that you would want to be able to use something like that is kind of like outside where it's like the sun is going down, sunset, sort of mood, because it'll still be able to bring out all of what you would need to bring out while still allowing you to have what's called bokeh. We're not gonna get into bokeh right now because that's a whole different video and that's a whole different technique. Like, there is an art. We got the Link and we got the Zelda to the Holy Trinity, and now we about to add the Ganondorf to like make that thing like the Hyrule Triangle, because we really in this bitch. Shutter speed. And shutter speed is pretty much how much time that your sensor is open to take the picture. You hit that little button to take the picture. Now, it depends on what that number is, because like there's that little number when you see that fraction like right by your light meter and you're like, what the hell is this? Like, let me crank it up, take it all the way like 1/200. That 1/200 signifies how much of a second that your camera sensor is open to take the picture. The lower that number is, like, or the higher, I guess, the number is, like, if you were at 1/4, that would be considered a pretty high number. So you have 1/4, you're opening your camera up for 1/4 of a second, and that, in comparison to like 1/200th of a second, is really slow. Say if you were outside shooting action shots, you would want to make sure that your camera length is up there to about 1 to 200, because there's a lot of movement. So you want to capture like in the moment type of stuff while it's still like clear and all of that other cool stuff. Because if you left it at like 1/4 or like anything like before 1/100th of a second, then it's gonna get really blurry and it's gonna look kind of crazy. But the higher the number, the less time it's open. So like kind of the more it captures, to be honest with you. I think something that you should try is go out and try to take a picture of like a flower that's in your neighborhood. Like, use all 3 things that you learned today, now that you know what aperture, what ISO is, and what shutter speed is, and like see what you come out with. And like, if you see something that's off, it's too dark or something like that, then like rearrange one of the 2 and figure out like how you can make it work. It's all in the doing. It's a practice process. And if you just get super freaking stuck and you have nothing else to do and you don't know what to do, run this video back. So that way I can just re-explain to you what everything is again and get to show you all of these lovely examples. That's everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the little class lesson that I've given you. And if you do, go ahead and smash the subscribe button and the like button and leave a comment down below on like, you know, what you thought your favorite part was, like what resonated with you the most. Also, if you've tried it after watching this video, leave a comment down below and let me know how it worked out for you. Also, if you have any like suggestions on things that you want to learn, any other questions that you want me to answer, like totally down. Could do a video for you with some other really cool examples with some other really cool people, so that way you have something to check out. But until then, I'll catch y'all on the flip. Catch me again next time for another great camera tutorial. Stay cool. I'll catch y'all. Out.